This is the Physical Activity Researcher Podcast, a podcast for researchers of sedentary behavior, physical activity, and sports. Join for a relaxed dialogue about research design, practicalities, and, well, anything related to research. Learn from your fellow researchers useful and relevant information that does not fit into formal content and limited space of scientific publications. And here is your host, researcher and entrepreneur, Olli and
Happy New Year, everyone. This is the end of the year bonus episode in which we will reflect on the past year and reveal some new things for the next year. But I would like to start saying thanks for all the guests in the previous episodes. You make this podcast possible, so thank you for taking the time for the podcast. And I would also like to thank all the listeners.
Yeah, I would also like to thank all the listeners. You are the reason we are doing this. So we hope that the podcast has been able to share some new research, new ideas, and also a little bit of speculations and things that you won't read in the research papers. And personally, I would like to say that I also very much enjoyed hearing the stories behind the research. So how different people started studying these topics and what are their personal experiences when in relation to what they want to find out about more. And just to say quickly, the Meaningful Sports series was something that was new in the PA Researcher podcast this year. It has been running about 4 months now, and we have received some very good feedback, and we are very delighted to hear that it's been something that has been resonating with at least some of you listeners, and we are very grateful for all the feedback. And especially I would like to thank all our Twitter supporters, and especially for the discussions and conversations we've had around the themes. So we certainly want to hear feedback and also critical questions and critical comments that will help us all develop and come up with better ideas. And especially in relation to the Meaningful Sports series, I would like to thank a few key people who have been sharing the conversations and sharing the work and promoting this dialogue. So I would like to mention I'm Sporticus, Greg Spencer, and the team at the Meaningful Physical Education Project, so the LAMPE, that I certainly recommend you to follow all of these people on Twitter and the fantastic work they are doing. And I'd like to say I very much enjoyed the conversations we've had around the themes of meaning and meaningfulness of sport, exercise, and physical education in the past few months. And back to Olli.
Yeah, so Noora will continue with the Meaningful Sports series. And previously we have done few episodes with our expert opinion. And in 2021 we plan to put more effort on the expert opinion. And if you haven't checked it out, the basic idea is that we just ask one question from many experts, and then we compile it together. And we would like to hear what kind of questions you would like to ask from the experts. So really looking forward for your feedback with that. And we will also have new series, which will be Psychology of Physical Activity. It will be led by a new host, Anom Aruts, and she's from Australia. And she will be focusing on physical activity, mainly from a psychological perspective in terms of theories. So really looking forward for that new series. And we have been also thinking and brainstorming about new series. Noora could tell more about those.
Yeah, one of the things we are now thinking of and exploring ideas is looking at careers in physical activity, sport, exercise, research. So I mean, we have one episode from this year with Richard Tahtinen, which was about mental health in PhD students and early career researchers. And we know that doing a PhD is certainly not an easy task, and we have some very alarming numbers in relation to mental health issues that many early career researchers are struggling with in their journey. And we should certainly be aware that staying in the academia is not the only option, and most of the PhD students actually don't work in the academia afterwards. So we thought that kind of discussing these different steps in your journey, working in this field, what are the different things you need to consider if you want to stay in academia, if you don't want to stay in academia, thinking of pathways and reflecting on journeys, and also hearing from those who have made an academic career, what are the key things that they are thinking of, what were the turning points, what are the things that you need to figure out in your academic career, and also a broader work-life balance and all these things that are sometimes challenging for people working in these fields. So this is something we are thinking of, starting a series on careers, and we would love to hear your feedback, whether that's interesting for you and what kind of things you would like to be discussed in that series.
Yeah, so new series coming, new ideas for different series, but we are also open for suggestions from you. What would be good series? What would be good guests? And we are even open for new hosts. If you want to host, please send email to us and let's discuss of this possibility. And now also we have had just the meaningful sport and then the kind of the physical activity researcher, and it's been quite many episodes, so maybe we look to make them under some series that it would be more structure. Already in our YouTube channel we are creating different playlists of the episodes, so it's a little bit easier to find different themes, and we are also looking to publish a new website where the episodes would be classified within different themes. And also it's quite a bit of things to do, hosting the podcast on YouTube in different podcast applications. So if you like the show and you would like to help, we are looking for intern. It could be many kind of tasks with the flexible schedule, so please be in contact if you are interested on internship possibilities.
Yeah, and then moving to the new year, 2021 is almost here, and our publication schedule for the episodes for next year, we decided we'll have Tuesday at 10 a.m. and Friday 10 a.m., which are the standard times. They are both GMT when we have a new episode out. And in times when we have more material, a little bit more piled up, then we will have an extra episode, which will be Sundays at 2 p.m. GMT. And another thing we started earlier this year, we started doing some polls on Twitter, and we got some valuable feedback, for example, for how long the episodes should be, what would be a good length, and that has helped us in planning. So we are doing a few more polls on Twitter, so that's something that we are working on as well. So that's a useful way for us to get some quicker feedback in terms of how we are doing and what you like and what you don't like. So you can see those polls in our Twitter, and besides those polls, just please get in touch with us whenever you have some ideas for themes. We have a few suggestions for themes and topics for next year, and we are working on making them come true, but we always welcome more ideas and comments.
Yeah, and as Noora was telling about the publication schedule and about episodes piling up, I think this is a good place to apologize for some of the guests. I have quite a bit of delay publishing the episodes. I haven't had time to edit them. So apologies for the delay. I hope to find time now to edit them and get them out in the beginning of new year. And like Noora said before, we really encourage you to get in touch. So any feedback, any suggestions are very welcome. And it would help us quite a bit if you would subscribe for this podcast in your favorite podcast app. So then you will see when the new episodes are out. So I think that's the end of this episode. So thanks for listening and have a good new year.
And stay tuned for the first episode of 2021. That will be out very soon.
Thanks for joining us this week on Physical Activity Researcher Podcast. If you like the show, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing or following the show on Twitter. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. If you found value in the show, we would really appreciate a rating on Apple Podcasts or whichever app you're using. Or if you would, in a real old school way, simply tell a friend about the show. It would be a great help for us. We have a fantastic lineup of guests for forthcoming episodes, so be sure to tune in. Thank you all for your support and have a great day.